course, we know how dopaminergic these things are. I actually just didn't get that anxiety spike before going to work. Could be busy, could be chill, who knows? We'll just find out when we get there. Good morning, it's 9:50. So you're probably wondering, why 10 a.m? Dude, you're so lazy, just get out of bed earlier. And it's all because I do shift work. So at the moment, I'm pretty much only doing evening shifts, which is either 1 p.m. to 9 p.m, 3 to 11 p.m, or 2 to midnight. Especially after the midnight shift, I get home very late and you're just super wired. I can't fall asleep for at least until 2 to 3 a.m. So to get a nice 7 or 8 hour sleep, I have to wake up at 10, which I know is 7 hours later than some of my other doctor YouTuber friends who apparently wake up at 3 a.m. to start their day. That's just some psycho stuff in my opinion, but good for you if you can wake up that early. I think even when I was doing morning shifts, I would never ever wake up before 6 or 7. But yeah, shout out to Zaliha Akpina. This video is based off her video where she describes her morning routine as a doctor in rural UK. Mine's a bit of a twist on that because I basically wake up in the afternoon and I'm in rural Australia. So I hope you enjoy it, I hope it's useful to you. So now the next part of my day, which is actually my favourite. So there was a period of time where I just used to meditate for the whole hour first thing in the morning. But now, probably for about 6 months or so, I've taken some of that time to do yoga instead. Was never really a big yoga person before, but classic cliche thing to start doing when you're traveling. I just found I never really had any male role models who I'd look up to that inspired me to do yoga. But in one of the hostels we were staying at, there was a yoga instructor and I just really liked his vibe. I really liked the way he taught yoga. He was very encouraging and he was very caring and I just thought he was a cool dude. So I was going to these daily morning yoga sessions and it made me realize how good it made me feel just in the body. I think before I'd have a lot of tension in my body. Just when you wake up, you're just feeling a bit tight and that tension is carried in your body but also in your mind as well. So by stretching and relaxing, you feel more comfortable overall, which is nice. And I feel like my posture is getting better and it's still a form of meditation. It's just a moving meditation to me. And one of the other benefits of it is that instead of sitting with my eyes closed for the first hour, which actually probably isn't the best for your circadian rhythm, my eyes are open, I'm getting some sunlight in my eyes, it's setting my circadian rhythm up for the day. It's increasing my wakefulness and also help me sleep better later tonight as well. And yeah, after I've done my yoga, I move on to the meditation part of the day. And I used to just do this silent meditation where I just close my eyes, follow the breath, Vipassana. But recently I've been doing a bit more breathwork stuff and I've been using this guy's follow-along tutorials on YouTube. His name is Kitaro Waga and I just feel he's just a really chill dude, does really good sessions, and they're about 20 minutes or so. And I find that the breathing is just a very quick way to change your state, and you can kind of decide what you want. Do you want to go for more calmness? Do you want to go for more energy? And you vary your breathing pattern depending on what you want. Loads of great tutorials there. Highly recommend, you should check it out. All right, it's time to lock in. Feeling zen AF right now. It's time to get, there's a work site next door. It's time to get caffeinated. So it's roughly 11:30 now, which is about an hour and a half since I woke up. So it's the perfect time to have some caffeine. If you're a Huberman fan, you know that your body needs a little bit of time after waking up to flush out that adenosine, which has been gradually reducing over the course of the night, but it's not quite fully out. So you need to give yourself a little bit more time because caffeine is an adenosine blocker. And if you block it too early, then you end up having this afternoon crash. Funny story about this coffee machine actually. So I'm in the hospital accommodation at the moment didn't know any of the people before I came here. I was posting reels to Instagram, and one of my reels, I used the coffee machine in one of the shots. And I got a random comment from someone who was like, hey, that's my coffee machine. Turns out my reel just came up on his feed. He's someone who works at the hospital as well. And I have just been using his coffee machine without his permission. And he found out because I came up on his For You page on Instagram. But he seems like a pretty chill dude. I haven't actually met him yet, but yeah, he's allowing me to use his coffee machine, which is very nice, thank you. One thing you may have noticed is that I haven't checked my phone yet. Of course, you know how dopaminergic these things are, and the worst thing you can do for yourself is start scrolling as soon as you wake up. So I'm glad I have this kind of set hour where I just do yoga and meditate and then have some coffee. And I actually have a block on my phone. Not sponsored or anything, but I use an app called Opal. Looks like this. And basically it stops me from going on any of my social media apps until midday, 12 midday. And then what I try and do now is I try and do all my creative work, all my focused work, whilst I'm having my coffee, straight after that little hour session, because I find my brain is just the most alert, the most productive. And I really want to make the most of this time. And I'd like to welcome you to my office, where I have a luxury standing desk, which is in fact a Kmart vacuum cleaning box. Tragic, I know, but this is what you have to put up with when you are staying in hospital accommodation. Yes, I could sit at the table, but I found that from sitting down a lot at work in the hospital, always typing on notes on the computer and stuff, my lower back is just killing me, and I'm actually really enjoying standing whilst working at the moment. I'm not in my glamorous home studio where I have a standing desk set up, so a vacuum box will have to make do. And at the moment, my main work when I'm not at work in the hospital is just the content stuff. So I spend my mornings scripting or editing. I just try and get into this kind of creative flow when I'm making the most of my alertness and my caffeinated brain. I was actually going to start scripting this video you're watching right now, but I've realized it's more of a off-the-cuff video and actually don't really need to script too much. So maybe I'll just start editing some reels or start thinking about some other useful content ideas. I really try to just get on with work straight away and not do something like answering comments, because as soon as I start answering comments, I just get sucked in and I can spend an hour or two just replying to people. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it when you leave comments, but it does distract me a little bit. Saying that, if you do feel like distracting me, feel free to leave me a comment on this video. I appreciate all the comments, I read all of them. I try to reply to all of them, so leave me a comment if you wish. All right, let's get some work done. Okay, it's 1:30. I'm starving, ready for breakfast. One of my housemates has just returned, so it's a little bit awkward filming and stuff. So I might just make the brekkie and then go eat in my room. So one thing I also try and do is not look at my phone or any screens when I'm eating, and just do some mindful eating. Mostly because we're so overstimulated, just in our day-to-day, constantly working, constantly consuming. I think the least we can do is just these small moments when we don't have to be looking at the screen. We can just enjoy our food, focus on the food, and yeah, let your brain rest a little bit. All right, my housemate is just gone. He's gone back to work, so I've got the house to myself again. It's a little bit less awkward. I don't really know the guy. He's just someone who was also at this hospital accommodation as well. Nice guy, lovely guy, but yeah. One very quick thing I wanted to touch on was that you may have noticed that there's no carbohydrates in my breakfast. I've always been quite a big cereal person, porridge or oats or granola, but I did this little experiment with something called a continuous glucose monitor, which just sits in the back of your arm, measures your blood sugar levels. The biggest takeaway I got from doing that little experiment was anytime that I had like a really carby breakfast or sugary breakfast, it would spike my glucose obviously, and it would make me feel really anxious. It's weird to think that your sugar levels can have an effect on your mental health like that. But that was the biggest takeaway for me. As soon as I switched out that breakfast to something with no carbohydrates in it, I actually just didn't get that anxiety spike before going to work. I just felt chill and normal. And I'm not against carbs or anything. I still eat carbs. I just don't eat them in the morning right before I'm going to work, and I know I'm going to be a bit stressed. I love carbs. I'm not one of these crazy low carb, no carb people. I'll have carbs with my dinner because at that time I'm not as stressed or anxious, and I don't get like an afternoon crash or anything like that. So no carb breakfast, like eggs, avo, literally the best thing ever. If you're someone who suffers with low level anxiety, like I used to, and sometimes still do, I would highly recommend giving it a try. It may just be something else you can add to your protocol to help reduce your anxiety symptoms. And once I've had my brekkie, I usually like to go straight for my workout, mostly because I want to get it in before I have my afternoon crash. And I want to make use of the caffeine that's still in my system as well. When I'm short on time, I'll just do a workout in the accommodation. But because I've got a bit more time today, I'm gonna walk to the local gym. I'm not actually going to work today. However, this morning routine is the exact same when I'm going to work. I knew that I probably wouldn't have enough time to film and do all the other stuff if I was going to work at 1 p.m. It's already like 2:30 now. So one thing I have noticed since going back to work is that the time pressure definitely makes it difficult, especially when I'm doing something like creating content. And often if I'm working a 10-hour shift, I'm gonna have to drop one of these activities. The non-negotiable for me at the moment is the yoga and the meditation. That happens every single day, no matter what. But some days I just won't do content. Some days I'll skip a workout or maybe just do some light stretching in the evening. I'm still gonna pick up this video off tomorrow when I actually am at work, and I'll show you how I quickly prep for a shift. Okay, it's a new day. As you can see, I'm now in my work clothes. I've done my morning routine, just minus the gym because I'm starting at 1 p.m. today, so I didn't have as much time. But most of my mornings will be some variation of that. Now all that's left for me to do is pack my bag and walk to work. And today I'm doing an 8-hour shift, so from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. So Thursday, could be busy, could be chill, who knows, we'll just find out when we get there. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you next week. And the final thing before I leave is I need to pack whatever I'm gonna eat on shift. Of course, water is key, and I have like my main dinner, which is just some salmon, brown rice, and green beans that I made the other day. A lot of nuts, snack bars, and an avocado to go in my dinner. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'm good to go. Alright, just to clarify, I don't actually wear my scrubs to bed. These scrubs are clean. I'm just shooting my thumbnail right now, so don't judge me.